Okay, next we're going to install the front panel onto the PCB stack using the nuts for the potentiometers and the encoder. So the nuts for the potentiometers are in with the potentiometers. Hopefully you still have those. And then the nut for the encoders in the encoder bag that it came in if you bought a parts kit from us. If you've misplaced that, I would just buy another Bourne's EC12 series encoder and to get another one. It's going to be the cheapest way to do it. And then there are 4 panel washers or fender washers that are used to shim underneath the encoder or between the encoder and the front panel to make sure that it's spaced properly. Usually you're going to need 3 or 4. I'll usually start with all 4. You're going to need a 11 millimeter for the encoder nut and 10 millimeter driver or socket for the potentiometer nuts. So I've got those 4 panel washers on there, and we've already test fit this in an earlier step, so it should slide over pretty well. Let's see. Looks like we're doing all right. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna eyeball. Looks like I've shimmed it too much for sure. Originally, the encoder did not have a bushing on it and was not secured to the panel, and it had a skirtless knob, or a knob that didn't have a skirt, so it was a little different than the rest of the knobs because it was just a little encoder knob. But we realized, you know, before production that it did help to have more connection between the panel and the panel board. I'm actually going to take off another one here, so now I have 2. And you're really just going to hold it and just look at the spacing. Okay, that looks pretty much perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and start to thread this one on by hand. And I'm not going to install all of these right now, especially since it hasn't been tested yet. I would just install some of them just to hold the panel and be able to test fit it and get the panel attached. The panel washers or the fender washers for the potentiometers are also included with the pots. If you want to put them underneath the nuts, we don't do that. I don't think they're visible when the knobs are installed. They might just barely be visible underneath, but it might give it a little more protection from this screen printing if you want to use them. I'm just installing a bunch of these randomly just to attach the panel. And I'm just going to tighten the encoder. Okay. Now you can just check it for consistency, make sure nothing's hung up, no LEDs are hung up. And test your switches, make sure they're aligned well. Okay, so I'll leave mine like this for now. I would do the same. No reason to install every nut at this point in case you need to take it apart.